League Central, led off by their center fielder Scott Pasednik, followed by shortstop Alexi Ramirez, then Jermaine Dye, Jim Thome, who has 60 career homers against the Tigers, Paul Konerko, A.J. Pierzynski, Carlos Quinton, then the kids, Chris Getz and Gordon Beckham. Reach for the perfect combination of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. And of course, first pitch is brought to you by Budweiser. And out on the hill is 25-year-old all-star right-hander Edwin Jackson. And when you're on a roll, you love to turn it over to an all-star, a guy that you've been counting on all year long. That's Edwin Jackson. Edwin Jackson, a guy, well, really hasn't had really a bad start all year long, Chris. He's had an amazing run here in Detroit, and he's going to try to keep the run going. The rain is blown out of here, at least for the time being. Playing under sunny skies. And the first pitch, a little high and outside. Edwin Jackson did make the All-Star team in St. Louis, just 7-5, but you see that ERA, third best in the American League and best in opponents' average at 212. And here right now is your pitcher profile, brought to you by Sprint. Well, it's pure power. He's a guy that rarely throws a breaking ball. He can run the fastball up to almost 98 miles an hour at times. And finally delivers a strike. He was born in Germany, but he spent a lot of time in Georgia, and he is a Bulldog. He's a tough customer. He's a guy that's just going to continue to pound the strike zone, strike after strike with the fastball. Pasednik's going to foul it off, and Scott Pasednik, to this point, Mark, I don't think it's an understatement to say he is the White Sox MVP. He has been that good since being signed to a minor league deal back in mid-April. Yeah, when you think about the White Sox, you think about Jim Thome, Jermaine Dye, Paul Konerko, certainly. But this has been the guy that sets those guys up. He's been the guy that really, when he's in the lineup, the White Sox win. He was out of baseball after being dumped by the Colorado Rockies in April. He's ready to start doing a camp to help guys get in shape. Maybe move on to the next phase of his career, even though he said he knew he could still play this game. Swing and a miss. So Pasednik goes down on a ball well outside of the strike zone. And time right now to meet the defense of the Detroit Tigers. A bunch of kids out there in the outfield, and Rayburn, Granderson, and Thomas. Third to first, it's Inge. Santiago getting the start at shortstop. Polanco and Cabrera. Behind the plate, Gerald Laird, best in all of the American League, throwing out 21 runners. Alexi Ramirez, the shortstop, takes a look at strike one. Mark Wegner, the home plate umpire. His right arm's getting a workout now. That's 5 strikes in a row. Ball popped up on the right side. Polanco's going to call for it, and there's 2 up and 2 down. We had showers in the area throughout the morning. They said perhaps some thunderstorms. Right now, pretty comfortable 82 degrees for late July. We'll take it. We're not sweating yet. No, we're not sweating yet. We're in our coat and tie, but we're okay. It's a beautiful day. Ditched the jackets at this point. But you're not schwitzing up top because of the makeup job. Solid. Speaking of solid, here's your solid pro, Jermaine Dye. Guy Ozzie Guillen calls one of the most underrated players in all of baseball. And he looks at ball one. And that's a good way to describe Jermaine Dye. He is underrated as far as fanfare is concerned. But if you ask anybody in the American League, especially a pitcher, they'll tell you this is a guy that we just cannot let beat us. Jackson, a guy that came over in an offseason trade from Tampa Bay, in part because the Rays didn't want to pay him. He was in his first year of being arbitration eligible. Tigers signed him to a 1-year, $2.2 million deal before the season started. There's ball 3. Really a true steal in the sense that all the Tigers gave up was Matt Joyce, and he's a guy that's kind of bounced from AAA up to the big leagues this season and hasn't helped the Rays a whole lot. Yeah, if you look at that just on value and value, that was a fleecing by Detroit. And it is a 4-pitch walk for Jermaine Dye. And now that brings up the guy you were talking about in the pregame, Jim Thome, not the man that Jackson wants to face with a man on base. I think a lot of times when somebody owns a pitcher and he's standing on deck, that pitcher sees who's on deck. And he saw big Jim Thome, who's 7 for 10, lifetime off of Jackson with a couple of long balls. And all of a sudden they start aiming the ball. They start trying so hard to get the
the hitter in front of Jim Thome. He missed badly with four, and now he's going to have to face him with a base runner.
Hit his 558th career homer last night in Game 2 of the doubleheader, and now make it 5 straight balls. And Gerald Laird's going to come out for a little chat. Who's that one pitcher that didn't want to face Mark Grace and was so worried about who was hitting in the 2-hole because you were in the on-deck circle?
Well, they had to deal with Ryan Sandberg in the 2-hole, so they really worked hard to get him. And we'll worry about Grace later.
We'll be hearing from Ozzie Guillen later on in the game. One of the more entertaining characters we have in Major League Baseball. Hard to believe he's talking to somebody on the bench.
Yeah, we had a great visit with him before the game. It was almost like he didn't want us to leave. That's 6 in a row now for Edwin Jackson. He was throwing a bunch of strikes, and all of a sudden, he just got out of rhythm. Getting a little disgusted with himself. Dangerous pitch here to Thome, 2-0.
That ball is ripped to center, but Curtis Granderson's going to have plenty of room. And that's going to do it for the White Sox in the top of the first. The hometown hero Tigers up to the bat when we return. The Tigers starting lineup brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. The All-Star Curtis Granderson gets it going, followed by Placido Polanco. Clete Thomas gets the start in right. Miguel Cabrera. Carlos Guillen back from his injury, DHing. Ryan Rayburn, Brandon Inn, Gerald Laird, and Ramon Santiago, the switch hitting shortstop, to round it out against Gavin Floyd. And Granderson looks at strike one. Gavin Floyd making his 20th start on the year, 8-6 with an ERA of almost 4.5, but 5-0 in 11 career starts against the Tigers.
And another guy that's red hot. He's won 4 of his last 5, and you just mentioned he is certainly a Tiger tamer, 5-0 career. His best pitch is his curveball, and you're going to see he has a great one. I call it a swing and miss curveball.
And that was your Sprint pitcher's profile on 26-year-old Gavin Floyd, who came over a few years ago for Freddie Garcia from the Philadelphia Phillies.
Also the day tripper. That means he's 14-4 lifetime in afternoon contests. And there's that curveball, and it just missed.
Granderson, a guy that made his first All-Star game appearance, but hitting just .255 and doesn't have as many extra base hits, although you see the power, 19 homers, fouls one away. Some people wonder whether or not this guy's better suited to hit a little further down the lineup.
Well, they've tried him. this year, as a matter of fact, because he's got that power, they tried him down in the middle of the order. Didn't work out too well. So we were right back. He went to the leadoff spot, and he's been much better.
2-2 pitch down low.
And he's not your typical leadoff man, Chris. He's a guy that, as you said, he's got the 19 home runs. He's also a high strikeout guy, which is rare.
Well, that's ball 4. So the Tigers have their speed man on, and that means more pressure on this defense. In the outfield, it's Quentin Podsednik and Dye. Third to first, you got the kid, Gordon Beckham, Alexi Ramirez, Chris Getz, who played his college baseball at the University of Michigan, and Konerko. Behind the plate, it's A.J. Pierzynski. He has thrown out just 6 of 69 would-be base stealers this season.
And Jim Leyland's got just what he wants, and that is his leadoff hitter on, and a guy in Placido Polanco that can really handle the bat. So he's got all kinds of opportunities to maybe make something happen with a hit and run or a stolen base.
And there goes Granderson on the first pitch, which is fouled away. Granderson 17 for 21 this season in steals,
which is very good. And right out of the gate, Jim Leyland plays a little hit and run. Polanco fouled it off, but I like the fact that Jim Leyland and the Tigers, after sweeping a doubleheader yesterday, come right back out and step on the gas again, try to make some things happen, force the Chicago White Sox to make some plays.
The 0-1 pitch is high. But of course, Jim Leyland's no dummy. He has seen the statistics running against this White Sox pitching staff. Pierzynski 6 for 69, throwing out runners. His backup, Castro, 0 for 9.
Well, needless to say, Leyland's going to try, and instead of just letting his hitters tap into double plays, he's going to put some runners in motion.
Granderson staying put, and there's a ball hit to Konerko. It's off his glove, makes the flip to Floyd, and it is not in time.
That ball was cued right off the very end of the bat. It looked like it had some English on it. Next thing you know, Konerko, once he corrals it, he can't beat the speedy Polanco to first base. Yeah, that ball had some crazy spin on it. It bounced away from Konerko. And Polanco's still running very well.
That's going to be ruled an error on Paul Konerko. The White Sox had 3 errors yesterday in one of the games. So the shoddy defense continues, and now the youngster, Cleet Thomas, steps in with 2 on. Thomas, just 25 years old. He is now part of the platoon in right field. Maglio Ordonez hitting from the right side, Thomas from the left. And he's going to square around and bunt, something you don't see very often from your number 3 hitter. You didn't do that a lot, did you?
Not very often. But Cleet Thomas is a young guy, and Jim Leyland also a guy that likes the bunt. He likes to move runners up, to set up, well, great hitters like Miguel Cabrera, who is on deck.
Thomas swinging away that time. And this has been part of the problem with this Tigers offense. They thought they were going to have a healthy and productive Maglio Ordonez in this spot right in front of Cabrera, and it just hasn't happened for him at all.
No, not at all. Maglio Ordonez has really struggled all season long, not driving the ball at all, only 5 home runs. But somehow, some way, Jim Leyland has got these Tigers on top.
Thomas again squares around a bunt, pops it up. Beckham's only going to have 1 play at first, and he gets him. So Thomas does a good enough job moving the runners up on the sacrifice for his RBI man.
Well, when your defense is playing back, you just really don't have to make a great bunt. He didn't have to. Beckham ended up coming in and making a nice play right there. So the Detroit Tigers here, after the doubleheader sweep yesterday afternoon and last evening, here they are cooking up a brew here again in the first.
This is the 11th meeting between the teams. Tigers have won 6 of 10 so far, including that doubleheader. And now, the 4-time All-Star Miguel Cabrera. Take a look at the season series between these two. Ball bounced to third and foul.
Ozzie Guillen has got his White Sox infielders playing all the way back. They're going to concede the run. All it takes is a ground ball just about anywhere. It's going to be a 1-0 game. I would imagine Jim Leland hoping for a little more than that, though.
The 0-1 by Floyd. That was a hanger and drilled just foul down the first baseline.
Well, we said that Gavin Floyd has a swing and miss curveball. Well, he does. He just didn't throw it there. Man, that one just hangs right up at the belt from Miguel Cabrera, and he missed a double and a 2-run lead by just inches down the right field line. Those were fun to hit, Chris.
Well, those are doubles for you, Gracie. If not triples.
No,
we're stopping at second.
Exactly. Triples just made you tired.
Cabrera fourth in the AL with that .326 average. He's been an RBI machine over the years. 5 straight 100 RBI seasons, but just 16 RBIs in his last 52 games. Fairly low production for the 4-time All-Star in that category. The 0-2. And here comes at least one run on the base hit. They're going to hold Polanco at third, and the Tigers have the 1-0 lead.
Well, he is still so dangerous in these situations. A fastball up, and he doesn't try to pull it. He just goes with what Floyd gives him. And that 0-2 pitch, you would think, if you're Gavin Floyd, you want him a little better than that. You don't want down the middle and belt high on an 0-2 fastball. You want something either down in the dirt or something off the plate that maybe Cabrera will chase. But instead, Cabrera hurts him, and it's 1-0 Tigers.
And up now, the switch hitting DH Carlos Guillen, back in the lineup yesterday after missing almost 2 months with a bad shoulder. Over 2 months, and he looks at ball one. Guillen on the DL since May 5th, activated yesterday. Still can't hit from the right side just yet, can't play the field, but he's okay from this side of the dish.
Hit a long home run here last night.
There's a ball bounced foul, and Gracie, you were just talking about it. This off of Bartolo Colon in game 2. His first homer since last August. Swing looked pretty good to you?
Yeah, it looked real good to me. Fastball down and in. He just crunched it about 15 rows up in right field.
And loves facing White Sox pitching. Had 3 hits in the doubleheader yesterday, and back at work on a 1-1 count against Gavin Floyd. Ball ripped again into the crowd.
What a good pitch there by Gavin Floyd. That little cut fastball right in on the belly button of Guillen. He couldn't do anything with it. Pulled it over the top of his dugout. That's a really good pitch. There's no way you're going to keep that ball fair.
The 1-2. Ball tapped to first. Canerco is going to go to second for one. Back to first. Not in time. The run scores.
Canerco does everything he can. Ramirez gets it across. Gavin Floyd does a good job of getting over there. But Guillen, even with the bad wheel, beats it out. 2-0 Tigers.
So Placido Polanco, who looks a little bit like something out of Goodfellas with that thing across the bridge of his nose, scores the second run of the inning. Now that brings up Ryan Rayburn, another one of the kids they're trying in the outfield, trying to get a little more athletic out there. He looks at ball one in the dirt. Rayburn checking in at 248 with 6 homers this season. Swing and a miss.
And you mentioned the Tigers trying to get a little more athletic, especially in the outfield. This is a huge ballpark. Comerica Park is you've got to have some speed and athleticism in the outfield. Sure, you've got it in Granderson, but now, as Marcus Thames gets a little older, he doesn't move around as well as he used to. Of course, Maglio Ordonez, as you said, not playing as much. They've gotten a lot more athletic and younger out in the outfield, and those gaps just aren't as big with those young, speedy guys as maybe it was with Ordonez and Timms out there.
And you can throw in Carlos Guillen as well, 33 years old, and trying to leg it out there as well. Throw over to first. Guillen, they hope, is really that missing piece to the puzzle. We're not sure if Dave Dombrowski's going to pull the trigger over the next week or so, but they're acting as though getting Carlos Guillen back in the lineup is their mid-season trade.
That might be a mid-season acquisition. You're just getting it from within. You're getting a guy healthy. A guy that, when he's healthy, is a terrific baseball player. And 3-1 now. Here on Rayburn.
Gavin Floyd having to work hard here in the bottom of the first. He's already thrown 24 pitches so far. And a 3-1 to Rayburn. Ball fouled away.
Well, this is a dream start here for the Detroit Tigers. You score a couple of runs on a guy that, well, you've never beaten in Gavin Floyd, and I keep talking. Just continue to stay on the accelerator after yesterday's doubleheader sweep. Some pretty good fundamental baseball here in the top of the first with the successful bunt, the RBI ground out, and the base hit.
Another one tapped foul. Guillen, of course, moving on the 3-2 with 2 down. Rayburn's going to get his share of ABs now since Guillen is back on the active roster. He can't man the outfield just yet. Ball ripped to Beckham at third, and he's going to go the long way. And that'll do it for the Tigers, but they tack on 2 here in the first. Paul Konerko made a boo-boo here in the first. He'll try to make amends with the stick when we come back. The Now Network. By Hyundai. Now Hyundai Assurance can even help lower your price at the pump. And by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Tigers with a 2-run first. And now Edwin Jackson is thinking, what?
Yeah, what's going on? I got a 2-run lead early. Run support, not one of Edwin Jackson's strengths.
Well, it's really not his problem, but Just 3.43 runs per game per 9 innings for Jackson. That is worst in the American League among starting pitchers. And one of the reasons the White Sox are down 2-0 was because of the error by this man, Paul Konerko.
Yeah, Paul Konerko, when you're battling for first place and you're playing a first place team, anytime you give them extra outs, you're certainly asking for it. And you have to give the Tigers credit. They took full advantage of the mistake. And Jackson falls behind 3-0.
He's fallen behind a few hitters this afternoon. Gave up a first inning walk to Jermaine Dye, but it didn't bite him. Now 3-0 on Konerko. There's a strike.
They're just the get me over fastball at 94 miles an hour. This kid has got a gift in that right arm.
There's a ball ripped to Inge at third. He drops it. The long throw, and he still gets him.
Well, what a play by Brandon Inge. Has to go to his right. The in-between hop knocks it down and across the diamond to get Paul Konerko. I know how you feel, Paul Konerko. That was kind of a slug as well, getting down the line. You just see. He was trying to get there, just not getting there.
Who's winning a 40? Konerko in his spikes or Grace in his dress shoes right now?
Well, we'll have a lot of time to see who won.
A.J. Przinsky, another speed demon, stepping into the batter's box. Przinsky, though, having a very, very solid year at the dish. And look at that 349 road average, second best in the American League.
97 miles an hour on that fastball.
There's a ball ripped to right. And they're just going to look up at it, and it is gone. A.J. Przinsky, his 11th homer of the season, and the crowds love him everywhere he plays.
Well, A.J. Przinsky got a fastball he could handle and just drove it deep into the right field seats. They wanted it in. They got it in. Przinsky just cut it off and drilled it to cut the lead in half. Przinsky, maybe a little anger in that one. As you said, always a crowd favorite everywhere he goes, A.J. Przinsky.
That's why he feels so comfortable on the road. Loves those boos. Carlos Quentin swinging at the first pitch. Inge, no problem with that one. 2 down.
And we talked about maybe an angry swing there. We were talking about that 0-2 pitch. Remember the 0-2 pitch that we said wasn't a very good one to Miguel Cabrera? A.J. Przinsky stating his case. Yeah, I gave the fastball. I wanted it way up. He's in a heated exchange there with the pitching coach, and Gavin Floyd's right there as well saying, hey. And I'm sure the pitching coach is saying, man, I want that ball higher than that. And Przinsky's like, man, I did too.
Pitching coach, of course, Don Cooper, continues to do such a good job with this staff. Chris Getz popping one up. Curtis Granderson's going to squeeze it for the third out. But A.J. Przinsky's 11th homer of the season has cut the deficit in half. line. And the Tigers with a tasty 2-1 lead as they bat in the bottom of the second against Gavin Floyd. It's the all-star third baseman Brandon Inge stepping in. Looking at a high tight one.
That's a good way to start your day. I'm sure Gavin Floyd not real happy with that terrific play Brandon Inge made on his first baseman Paul Konerko, so he straightens him right up.
Swung on and missed. Inge voted into the All-Star game by the fans of America, and with good reason. A team leading 21 homers, quite a difference from his 2008 season. He's been bothered by patellar tendonitis in his knee. He said he's not going to go on the DL right now because they can't guarantee that he'll feel better after 15 days, so he's just going to gut it out.
It's just tough when you're a hitter and you don't have your legs underneath you. Look at that beautiful breaking ball.
Is that the one you were talking about earlier?
Brandon Inge, absolutely. Looked like you had a feel for that one. Back-to-back breaking balls to Inge, and all he can do is just buckle and walk back to the dugout. Watch that front leg. Yeah.
Can't quite pull the trigger.
Boy, what a pitch.
So Inge is down on strikes. And now the catcher, Gerald Laird, who came over in the offseason from Texas to become the everyday catcher, looks at ball one. Laird's been great defensively at the plate.
He's been great defensively,
right. There's a ball popped up. Konerko and Getz giving chase. It's going to be Getz along the foul line, and that is out number 2. And it's time right now for a DirecTV game break. For that, let's send it to Chris Rose. All right, Chris, thank you very much. The Cubs and the Reds, Airless Ramirez missed 50 games earlier this year. That's his 7th big fly of the season. That up at Johnny Cueto. And then Alfonso Soriano is 17th of the year. Cubbies win it on the north side of Chicago 5-3. And now they're just a game back of the Cardinals in the NL Central. Remember to follow your favorite out-of-market team only on DirecTV. Chris, Mark, back to you.
Oh, good to have you back, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good. So the Cubs now just a game back of the Cards in that division.
Both the Central Division and the National League and the American League. Tight contests. And the Cubs are picking on the Cincinnati Reds at the right time. Boy, only 10 wins in their last 29 contests. So Dusty Baker and the Cincinnati Reds free falling right out of contention in the Central Division.
This is the switch hitting shortstop Ramon Santiago. Ripping one to center in front of Scott Podsednik. So 2-out single.
Oh, what a nice piece of hitting that is by Santiago. Fastball tailing away and just stays right on it. Drives it back up the box. Watch the head stay right through it. Doesn't try to do too much with it. Doesn't try to pull it. Just bust it right back up the box. That was pretty.
They love his versatility here in Detroit. Great utility player.
He's got some speed as well. Let's see if he might be on the move here and try to get in scoring position with 2 outs.
Granderson walked and scored in the first. Looks at ball one away. Granderson, an all-star season, but he has been catching a little heat just because of that batting average dip. You talked about the number of strikeouts.
But one of the really, really good guys.
Great guy.
In Major League Baseball. A guy that you can't help but pull for.
You better hope that he wears a uniform a few more years. He's
Exactly.
going to be pretty good on this side of the camera as well. Has done some playoff work for TBS over the last few years. Rips one foul. I'm not telling you anything. It's not like he's coming up here to take your job, Gracie. Believe me.
Trust me, he's a rare guy. He's actually a very intelligent baseball player.
What, San Diego State, they didn't give you that?
I don't think Curtis could quite get into San Diego State, but he's still pretty bright.
Facing his hometown team, grew up on the south side of Chicago. One of his favorite gifts he got as a kid, Walter Payton jersey.
Yeah.
So he is a Chicago fan through and through. With that stuff, at least. Looking at a 3-1. Now the count full with 2 down.
Santiago will be on the move at first base with the 3-2 count. So anything extra bases now, Santiago will score.
The 3-2 pitch to Curtis Granderson. Ball ripped to to Konerko. Floyd gets over to cover first, and that's going to do it for the Tigers. A single, but no other damage. Paul Konerko and the White Sox back up, down a run. As we head to the top of the third, it is the bottom of the order, and the 22-year-old rookie third baseman Gordon Beckham in against Edwin Jackson. Beckham leading all American League rookies with that .286 average. Called up in early June after just 59 minor league games, and he rips one to left center. Rayburn, however, is out there and squeezes it for out number one. Now, Fox Saturday Baseball is presented by Gillette, and it returns next week. One of 3 games in your local area, either the Yankees and White Sox, the Dodgers and the Braves, or the Royals at the Rays. Of course, you people will see the Yankees and the White Sox. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern. Check your local listings. That is, unless you're on vacation, then you're going to see a totally different game, Gracie. Where are you going to be?
Next week I am going to be.
We had to tell you were here today, and you were sitting in the booth.
Well,
so
you know, I appreciated that. I'm going to be in Atlanta next week.
There you go.
Yes.
Good. Is that a guess, or are you telling me?
It was an educated guess.
Okay, good. Scott Podsednik has worked the count 2-0 in his favor. He struck out to start the game, and that one is ripped right up the middle for a base hit. And now you've got a little speed on for the White Sox.
And just a fastball right down the middle, and Podsednik just rips it right back up the box. Boy, that's a nice swing. Stays back on that back leg and drives it. He doesn't swing to it, he swings through it.
Well, Scott Podsednik, of course, he played with the White Sox during their 05 championship season, went out to Colorado last year. Just didn't work for Scott, and he was released at the end of spring training this year. Actually placed a call to Ken Williams. Called Mark Burley and said, hey, I need Ken Williams' number. I want to, give him a call. And at the same time, Ken Williams was trying to get a hold of Scott Podsednik. So at least there was a meeting of the minds there, a mutual admiration to bring Podsednik back to the south side. Alexei Ramirez popped out his first time, looks at a strike.
We were talking to Ozzie Guillen before the game, and he was telling us, man, I kept telling Kenny Williams, I kept telling my powers that be that, man, I need a leadoff man. We need a leadoff man here badly. Somebody can get on base and somebody can steal some bases ahead of these big boys in the middle of the order.
And that ball is popped up in the infield. Jackson's actually calling for it. Now called off by Inge. And that's the second out.
And a few off-speed pitches that Edwin Jackson's thrown. But he got the slider where he wanted, got the pop up, but Ozzie Guillen he is just beside himself how much he's enjoyed having Scott Podsednik back.
And he loves having this guy at the dish, Jermaine Dye, who walked his first plate appearance. Dye hit a homer in the second game last night of the doubleheader. 16 home runs here at Comerica, most of any visiting player.
Well, you have to earn them here. You have to hit it a long ways here at Comerica, especially as a right-handed hitter. So deep to left field and left center. Center field, 420.
345 down the line and left. There's a ball that's inside.
Edwin Jackson, he knows who's at the plate. Jermaine Dye, that was 98 miles an hour right there on that fastball just inside.
Dye with 6 straight 20 home run seasons. 22, tied for 7th in the league this year. And that ball's ripped to left, but squeezed by Rayburn, and that's going to do it. Tigers lead the White Sox 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the third. Fox Saturday Baseball is presented by Pepsi. Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. Bottom of 3 here at Comerica. 2, 3, and 4. Polanco, Thomas, and Cabrera to face Gavin Floyd, who delivers strike 1. Polanco reached on Paul Konerko's error and scored in the first. You like that little strip on his nose, Gracie?
Not quite my thing, but now if it helps him breathe, I guess might as well put it there. That was kind of the in thing to do there for a while. You saw a lot of basketball players doing it.
Football, basketball,
football.
Not a lot in baseball. Off speed, just misses. Jerry Rice used to wear that thing, running the hills. When you used to train with him up in the hills in San Francisco?
We do the road work together.
Right.
Jerry Rice and I.
He couldn't keep up, is what I heard.
He couldn't.
Swung on and missed. Gavin Floyd trying to improve on a 5-0 mark against Detroit, but what's gone wrong? I just asked Ozzie Guillen that.
Well, in the beginning of the season, when it was kind of cold, you can feel the ball. That's I remember that day real well. And today, I think he's rushing a little bit, but he's throwing the ball pretty good. Hopefully, he can shut it down for now on.
Hey, we've gone back and talked about Mark Burley's perfect game, but you're not getting enough credit, Ozzie, because you were the guy that put Dwayne Wise in center field in the 9th inning. You're not getting enough credit if you ask me.
Well, he's exactly the same way he was, and the ball's not get caught. Then I take credit to don't put the guy in, but I think every manager in the game will do the same thing I did, because Quinton was the last out in that particular inning, and we will replace him just because he just come from injury. And the reason why we keep Wise in the team is just to play defense. And good thing we make that move, and it worked out real well for us.
Ozzie, thanks very much.
Go get him, Skipper.
All right, mate.
Swing and a miss there by Cleet Thomas. Behind in the count 1-2. And Ozzie's answer should have been, you're right. Mark Burley owes me something big.
Something. Yeah.
That should have been the answer.
I agree with you. I'm surprised you didn't remind him of that, Chris.
Yeah. Well, we had to go. Ball hit to the mound. Floyd, gloves, throws, got him. So Gavin Floyd seems to have settled down after giving up 2 in the first.
He's starting to make some pitches now, Chris. Go ahead.
You see those marks against Detroit, 5-0 and 11 starts, and he has just been great against any team he has faced lately. 6-2 overall in his last 11. This guy has really developed into something the Phillies thought he was going to back when he was drafted 4th overall in 2001 by the Phils. Then, of course, came over in the Freddie Garcia deal in 06.
He's starting to get a feel for the pitches now. He's starting to get some good dive on the fastball. You can see he's really throwing the breaking ball for strikes whenever he wants. Sometimes it just takes a little while to settle in, but he's done so. Look at that thing of beauty there.
Cabrera upset with himself, but he was overjoyed with that RBI single in the first.
We talked about the swing and miss curveball. That's the one we're talking about, Chris Rose. Down and away, and even a great hitter like Cabrera going to look bad on that one.
Well, he lost him 0-2 back in the first inning. Let's see where this one ends up. Right in the middle again, but pulled foul.
Yeah, that was another mistake, 0-2. That one was in the middle of the plate. Cabrera got a fastball in the middle of the plate, and he hurt Gavin Floyd with an RBI single in the first inning. That one stays just above the knees and in the middle of the plate as well. That's where he wants it, down there. Not going to get hurt down there. Really, that was a good piece of hitting by Cabrera just to foul that one off.
Cabrera looking into the dugout for some help there. But he's looking into the wrong dugout. This is great. Looking at Don Cooper, the pitching coach, and Mr. Perfect, Mark Burley. High and outside.
Kozinski over there adding to it.
Well, if Burley were pitching today, we'd probably be done by now.
He's a pleasure to cover a game, isn't he?
You got to make a flight?
Oh, man.
2 hours and 3 minutes was the length of Mark Burley's perfect game. He was on the mound for 32 minutes.
I was going to say, the other guy must have been real slow.
The 2-2, and there is strike 3. The third strikeout of the afternoon for Gavin Floyd and Jim Thome. 558 career homers. Try to add to that when we come back. And by Chevy. Top of the fourth, Jim Thome to lead it off against Edwin Jackson. That one is awfully high. Ryan Rayburn is under it for out number one. A few minutes ago, we caught up with Jim Leland and talked to him about Edwin Jackson getting some run support for a change.
Yeah, well, that's why we wanted. Normally you don't do that, particularly in this league. But, I wanted to try to get something. I didn't think they'd walk Cabrera in the first inning, So I wanted to get something on the board for him. He hadn't got much run support so far. And after winning 2 yesterday, you kind of wanted to get out to a lead if you could. So that's why we did that.
And speaking of that doubleheader victory yesterday for you guys, is the mindset the same? You're just going to stay on the accelerator as long as you can against the second-place White Sox team?
Yeah, we're going to try to push the buttons. We're not a fast team, but we got to try to create some. We just haven't been scoring. That's why I say sometimes you got to do things. If they don't work, you look a little crazy. Look too smart. But we've hit and run first and second with left-hand hitters, and we started to bunt a little bit and hit and run a little bit more. Try some things, Mark, because we just haven't been scoring. Like yesterday, Gene sent the guy on that ball to center field. Probably would have been out, but we just got to take some chances.
All right, Jim, thank you very much.
Sure.
Good luck,
Appreciate the
Skipper.
time. Well, Jim Leland doing the little things back in the first inning, bunting with his number 3 hitter, Cleet Thomas. Well, the bottom line is this guy has just not gotten enough run support from this Tigers team this year. It's a little bit over 3 runs per game. That's why he has the 7-5 mark with the 3rd best ERA in the American League.
And Edwin Jackson, a lot of times you get that mindset that I have to be darn near perfect every single time, or it's going to be another tally in the loss column. He's been awfully good here so far this afternoon.
The 2-2 pitch by Jackson, swung on and missed. Strike 3, so Paul Konerko goes down. Well, time now for our fan cam, brought to you by Bank of America Home Loans, making a commitment to home and to homeowners. Starting now, Home has a new address. And you can see the green shirt. They are going green, going green, if you will, this weekend at Comerica. Several green initiatives to help preserve the environment. This is A.J. Pierzynski, who hit his 11th homer of the season for the White Sox lone run back in the second. And Mark, you and I could do our job to preserve this country and keep all that nasty stuff out of the oxygen out there by just keeping our mouths shut. That way we won't pollute the air.
Boy, sometimes you are a very wise man, Chris Rose.
Pierzynski rips another one, make it 2 for 2 for A.J. Pierzynski. A 349 batting average on the road coming into today, and a couple more hits.
Looked like a changeup, something off speed that may have stayed up in the zone. Yeah, it was a changeup. Pierzynski did exactly what you're supposed to do with it and just drilled it into right field. So A.J. Pierzynski having no problem with the all-star Edwin Jackson here this afternoon. A long ball and now a base hit.
Here's an all-star from last season, Carlos Quentin. 5 for 18 since returning to the lineup this week. Rips one foul. And this Carlos, much like the Tigers' Carlos, as in Carlos Guillen, whereas Kenny Williams is hoping that maybe he can infuse a little energy if he doesn't pull a trade, that this is kind of like their midseason acquisition.
Out a long time with plantar fasciitis in his left foot. Another guy, just a power hitter. If you don't have your legs and your feet underneath it, boy, it just makes it so difficult.
Check swing, fouled away. Quentin, a monster year last year, his first on the south side, 36 homers, 100 RBIs. He basically missed the last month after breaking a bone in his wrist.
He was upset with himself on a swing and miss and punched his bat and broke his wrist. So needless to say, I'm sure that's the last time he'll be doing that.
The 0-2 pitch by Jackson. Ball fouled away. Quentin, a poli-sci major at Stanford. Talking about a brainiac. Kid from Southern California. Got it all going for him.
First round pick by the Diamondbacks. But he has certainly found a home on the south side of Chicago. They love him there when he's healthy.
high and tight. 1-2. Well, that's been the big question. He wasn't exactly healthy out in Arizona.
No. And then, of course, missed, as you said, the last month of last season with the broken wrist. Now the plantar fasciitis. If you've ever dealt with that, that is miserable.
Not a good one?
No.
Ball ripped to the shortstop, Santiago. Gloves. Good dig by Cabrera. One hit by Perzinski and a man left. We go to the bottom of 4. Tigers with the 2-1 lead. Mark Grace and Chris Rose back at Comerica Park. Tigers lead it 2-1 in the 4th. They got those 2 in the bottom of the 1st off of Gavin Floyd, who has settled down nicely. It's Guillen, Rayburn, Inge. Guillen looks at ball 1.
We certainly expected a pitcher's duel before this game started. Gavin Floyd undefeated against the Detroit Tigers in his career. Of course, Edwin Jackson, the All-Star. He's certainly shaping into one.
Ball ripped foul. Good grab by the guy in the stands. Yeah, it's a baseball. Hey,
nice
there you
play.
go. See?
Nice play.
He's like rubbing it down. Get a little Mississippi mud on there. The 1-1. Catches the corner.
That's like a cut fastball right there. He just stays right in on the belly button of left-handed hitters with it. If you get it to the inside corner like Floyd just did, it's almost a near impossible pitch to hit. Back to the curveball and a foul ball.
Carlos Guillen, one of those underrated players. We talked about Jermaine Dye being underrated, but this is a guy that is just a solid pro. Swings it from both sides of the plate. Former All-Star. Had a monster year a couple of years ago, hitting .296 with 21 homers, 102 RBI. Used to play shortstop. Once traded for your former teammate, Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson.
The minor leagues in Houston, sent out to Seattle.
Did some good things there. He's just a good baseball athlete. He can play just about anywhere for you. And as you said, he's a guy that hits from both sides of the plate. If you can keep him healthy, boy, he is a valuable guy to have. Help you win a lot of baseball games.
And I imagine having a switch hitter in this part of the order has got to be frustrating for the other team. Guy that can make good contact. Now Guillen, of course, because of the shoulder injury, cannot hit yet from the right side. But once he gets healthy, he can pose that threat. The 2-2 by Floyd. Ball popped foul away.
Good battle now here between Guillen and Floyd. Floyd throwing some good pitches and Guillen able to fight him off. And that's all part of hitting too, Chris. You can fight off those tough pitches, stay alive. Eventually, the odds of making a mistake certainly increase.
There's a swing and a miss.
That wasn't a mistake. That was a thing of beauty.
Fourth strikeout on the day by Gavin Floyd. Hey, Gracie, I'm sure you have noticed Fox working in conjunction with the Michael J. Fox Foundation. You've seen probably those PSAs that Joe Buck and Tim McCarver shot with Michael J. And it's been a lot of fun. We've been wearing these Fox pins as well. In fact, the Michael J. Fox Foundation is dedicated to finding a cure for Parkinson's through an aggressive research program. And to learn more, please visit michaeljfox.org. You know, Joe and Tim, I was with them shortly after they shot that promo with Michael J. Fox, and they were just raving about him, how funny he was, what a great time he was having off camera, just living it up. This is Ryan Rayburn, who grounded out, and the first. That ball ripped to left center, but Sedmick cuts it off, and Rayburn's going to hold it first with a one-out single.
Well, the first pitch that Rayburn sees from Floyd is a fastball down the middle, and he just drills it into left center field. Watch him stay back and drive right through it. That ball was hit very hard.
And loudly, apparently. So we can hear it. So one on, one out for Brandon Inge. Strikeout victim back in the second. Inge with a team-leading 21 homers, but none since the break. Once again struggling with patella tendonitis. He says it's not a full torn knee ligament at this point, but just an itty-bitty tear that's been troubling him.
It's enough to be a constant reminder for the rest of the season that, by the way, you're not going to be completely healthy the rest of the year. You're just going to have to battle through it. And, well, one thing we know about Brandon Inge, he is a tough kid. And if anybody can battle through it, it's him.
Having his best year at the dish, and that goes in conjunction with finally having one position to play. I mean, this is a guy that's bounced around, caught a lot of games for this organization. He's played in the infield. He was a shortstop in college. He even started the opener in 08 in center field because of the injury to Curtis Granderson. So he's been all over the place. The 2-0 high and away, and Rayburn is in there with a stolen base. Gets it. He came off the bag, and apparently he did.
Well, second base umpire Rob Drake right there. A great jump and steals it easily. But the slide was too late, and he just can't stop. And off he comes. That is a great call by second base umpire Rob Drake.
The throw was there. Rayburn beat it and slid right over that monster. Why does that happen so much?
Well, Lou Brock, it never happened to him because he always went feet first.
Popped right up.
He just started the slide too late.
Tough year for A.J. Przinsky behind the dish, but this one, yeah, I got you. Threw out a couple runners earlier this week with Gavin Floyd on the mound against Tampa Bay. And that really is a team effort. So many people want to look at the stats of the catcher, but if your pitcher's not doing his job, then your catcher's got no shot, right?
It's up to the pitcher to give his catcher a fighting chance. As you can see, Floyd very slow to the plate. Sometimes. You have to be able to give your catcher a slide step once in a while. Vary your times, and of course, if you have a good pickoff move, that obviously helps. And that's all part of being a successful pitcher. Being able to shut down the running game is just as important as balls and strikes and stuff. You can't allow another team to just run you right out of the ballpark.
Look at the first pitch strikes. Not enough of them for Gavin Floyd this afternoon. Brandon Inge on at first. He walked. Laird trying to bunt for a base hit. The speedy catcher trying to drop one down with Gordon Beckham playing well behind third base.
Well, if he was wanting the element of surprise, he certainly got it, especially with us, Chris. Now, this is a guy that, even though he's only got 4 home runs, he's still a guy he can hit the ball a long ways. He can drive a ball in these gaps. And with 2 outs, man, drive one in the gap. Not going to drive anybody in with a bunt.
The 1-2. Hit foul down the right field line. A little too much territory over there for Jermaine Dye to cover. Laird brought over in the offseason to be the everyday catcher. He's caught only 100 games once in his first 6 seasons down in Texas, so we'll see how he holds up here in the second half of the season. The 1-2 by Floyd. Rings up his 5th strikeout of the afternoon, and he is in a nice little rhythm. We head to the 5th. The Tigers holding a 2-1 lead here on Fox. Start the top of the 5th. Got this series started off in the right direction for the Tigers. A complete game yesterday in game 1 of that double dip. Still hitting triple digits on the gun in the 9th.
Yeah, he got the bases loaded, nobody out, and I think that made him a little angry. All of a sudden, pitch number 125 of the afternoon from Justin Verlander was over 100 miles an hour.
Chris Getz flew out to center back in the 2nd. Grew up here in Michigan, North Grosse Pointe High School. Went to the University of Michigan, and that is going to drop in front of Ryan Rayburn for a leadoff single. And Justin Verlander, undoubtedly the ace of this staff, a 2-time All-Star. Told me one time the hardest he's ever thrown is 103 miles per hour, and after watching these highlights from game 1 yesterday, I believe him, Gracie.
Yeah, it was pretty unfair what he did to the Chicago White Sox yesterday afternoon. Did a good job of pitching, fielding, you name it. Another complete game victory for Justin Verlander.
And that was the big play of the game. Bases loaded, nobody out in the 9th. He got the rookie Gordon Beckham, the man up at the plate right now, to ground into the 1-2-3 double play. This one lifted foul and out of play. With Verlander and Jackson, I mean, if you look ahead and if somehow Jim Whelan's club was able to hang on here in the AL Central. Talk about a tough out in a 5-game playoff series. You face Verlander twice and Jackson as well.
That's exactly right. It's not going to be easy for anybody the Tigers would play in a short series, a 5-game series, if they do indeed make the playoffs.
Swing and a miss by Beckham. Beckham, a guy who's been struggling as of late, just 1 for his last 14, but pretty much an untouchable in this system. The 8th overall pick in the 2008 draft out of the University of Georgia as a shortstop. He has made the move on over to third his rookie season. Puts a one down in the dirt. And how much do they value this kid? If you had mentioned the name Roy Halladay, Kenny Williams says, if you're going to talk to me about Gordon Beckham, don't bother calling.
Yeah, just hang up right now. That's how highly they feel about Gordon Beckham. They wouldn't even take Halladay for him.
The 1-2 pitches, check swing fouled away. How tough is the adjustment he's made out in the field when you've played shortstop your whole life and now you're making the move to third?
You know, especially bunt plays. You know, those are things that you have to learn. You know, you're not covering a base, you're charging, and then also the ball's on you quicker at third base than it is shortstop. It's more of a reactionary position at third base than it is at short. I think he's done a very good job of making the transition, but I still think here in a couple of years he's going to be an everyday shortstop.
There's a ball ripped by Beckham, and Rayburn has it go over his head. Getz is going to score the tying run. Beckham is going to stop at second with an RBI double.
Well, the runner was on the move. They played hit and run. And there you see him take off Getz, and then Rayburn just misjudges it. Over the head it goes, and that's going to be an RBI double, and we're tied here in Detroit. You can see just took a poor angle on that ball, and it cost him dearly what may have been a double play if he makes the catch, because Getz was running all the way. Instead, now we've got a tie ball game and a situation now where I would imagine Scott Posednik looking to bunt.
There it is. Strike one by Jackson. For Beckham, that was his 12th double of the season, scoring the University of Michigan product. And Gracie, you're right, that definitely would have been a double play. He was already at second by the time that ball reached the outfield.
Yeah, by the time he saw where Rayburn was, he was past second base. So Tiger's going to have to scratch and claw just to keep this tied.
Posednik rips one up the middle, past Polanco into center field, and here comes Beckham. The White Sox now have a 3-2 lead.
Oh, what a nice piece of hitting there by Scott Posednik. Now you know why they love him in Chicago. Looking to pull the ball. That pitch was away. He's just looking to pull it. He just bounces it right back up the box. Watch out, Rob Drake, the umpire. They're waving him around the whole way. Gordon Beckham ties it. And Gordon Beckham gives him the lead.
But now a little visit for Edwin Jackson out on the mound. Rick Knapp, first-year pitching coach. Well, time right now for a DirecTV game break. For that, let's send it back to Chris Rose. All right, thank you, Chris. Yankee Stadium. Jeter, another home run, his 11th of the year. Teixeira, his AL leading 25th. Got him to within 6-4, and then with a man on in the ninth, the all-star closer Andrew Bailey closes it out. The A's win Yankee Stadium 6-4. Remember to follow your favorite out-of-market team only on DirecTV. So the Yankees lead now in the AL East, down to 2 games over Boston. Alexei Ramirez stepping in. Now the White Sox have their first lead of the afternoon, and Posednik draws a quick throw.
It's good to have you back, Chris.
Thank you.
working hard today.
Hey, when you're working at Fox, you're bound to have a split personality at some point in your career. Believe me. Whether you're on air or an executive, it happens. Alexi Ramirez, 0 for 2 on the afternoon, 0 for 10 in his career against Jackson, and there's a ball in the dirt. Nice block by Laird.
You can see Edwin Jackson really concerned about Posednik at first base, a terrific base stealer. And because of that, he's fallen behind Ramirez. And Ramirez has had 0 success against Edwin Jackson, 0 for 10 lifetime.
Nobody up in the pen yet for Detroit. And now Posednik's got him thinking on the mound. Posednik 15 for 23 this season in steals. Back in 2005 when he was a world champion and an all-star, second in the AL with 59 steals. And there he goes. Ball's hit to the shortstop. Santiago's only going to have 1 play to first. So the Tigers get their first out here in the 5th.
Well, Ozzy's had the runners going, and because of that, he stays out of the double play there. And we saw it earlier. He had Getz running on the RBI double from Beckham. So even though we're in an American League contest, we're seeing some runners on the move. They're not just sitting back waiting for 2- and 3-run homers.
Jermaine Dye, a walk and a line out this afternoon. Ball inside. One of these innings that the young 25-year-old seems like he's just going to have to fight through. The 1-0. He's going to step off. The big question for Jim Leyland facing him in the second half of the season, after Verlander, after Jackson, what do you have next? Tomorrow night they'll throw the 20-year-old rookie, Rick Porcello. Armando Galarraga, he's been up and down, and then they've had Luke French, who's filled in quite well this season for a couple of injured Tigers.
And one thing about the Detroit Tigers, every one of these pitchers for the Tigers just throws hard. All of them anywhere from 93 and above. Even their middle relievers just flamethrowers.
Ball tapped foul.
A couple of change-ups back to back from Edwin Jackson on Jermaine Dye to jump ahead 1 and 2. It's not a pitch. That's really by far Edwin Jackson's 3rd pitch, but he's had to break it out here in the 5th after the White Sox have hit a few of his fastballs right on the button.
Ball popped foul. Jackson, just 25 years old, as we said, came over in an offseason deal from Tampa. Started out in the Dodger organization. He was a 6th-round pick back in 2001. This is a guy that the Dodgers didn't know whether or not he was going to play outfield for him or end up on the mound. They said, you know what, he throws too hard. Let's put him out there. Ended up being their minor league pitcher of the year in 2002. But pitched only 26 innings in high school, so some would say he's still kind of learning. The 1-2 delivery to Dye, fouled away.
Back-to-back fastballs now. He's trying to put away Jermaine Dye with the gas. Jermaine Dye had a good rip at that fastball. He was right there. Fouled it back. Wouldn't surprise me at all, Chris Rose, if Jackson goes back to something off speed here, because it looks like Jermaine Dye is starting to time the fastball.
And there is the Edwin Jackson killer, Jim Thome, in the on-deck circle.
He did throw off speed.
White Sox with 2 here in the 5th to take the lead. The 2-2 by Jackson. Jackson seemed very preoccupied with Podsednik, whether he was at first or at second.
Just any time you can get a pitcher to think about something besides executing the pitch, that's advantage offense.
There's a swing and a miss. A big pitch there by Edwin Jackson to get the strikeout. Well, let's take a look at the sequence, your pitch by pitch.
He does a great job of mixing it up. There's the first pitch slider, he misses. A changeup swing and miss, another changeup, gas, back-to-back foul balls, back to the slider, and then finally puts him away with the slider again. That was a heck of an exchange there between Dye and Jackson. That time the youngster got the better.
And they are going to take a pass on Jim Thome, who's 0 for 2 on the day, but still 7 for 12 with a couple of homers in his career against Edwin Jackson. So another veteran, Paul Konerko, is going to get his rips against the youngster.
Well, Jim Leland, a guy that, in my opinion, is a Hall of Fame manager. But boy, this is a tough decision right here. If you're Jim Leland, you're walking Jim Thome. He's hitting .250. He's got 58 RBIs. Yeah, he's got the success against Jackson. But you're walking him to get to Paul Konerko, who's sitting on 64 RBIs. And one of the better RBI men in White Sox history.
Paul Konerko, as you can see, Jim Thome creeping up on the top 10 of 3 passes all time. Now just 4 away from cracking the top 10. Now Paul Konerko, 0 for 2 on the afternoon, including a strikeout last inning. And now with a chance to do a little further damage against Edwin Jackson. There's one inside.
And also, if you're Paul Konerko, or if you're anybody that they intentionally walk somebody to get to you, you take that personal. Oh, really? You're going to walk him to get to me, huh? All right.
Talking about one of the most prolific power hitters in White Sox history. Only the Big Hurt has more home runs. Only Frank Thomas, Luke Appling, more RBIs. So you're talking about some pretty prodigious numbers there for Paul Konerko.
This is a big-time production guy that you're walking Jim Thome to get to. He thrives in these situations.
And there's a ball ripped to left. Rayburn is there, and he's going to squeeze it for the out. Konerko hit it on a line, but it did no damage. However, the White Sox do cash in 2, and they have a 3-2 lead as we head to the bottom of 5. Bottom of 5, and now for the first time this afternoon, the Tigers are on the wrong end of the scoreboard. Down 3-2 after the White Sox plated 2 in the top of this frame. Bottom of the order, Ramon Santiago, who singled back in the second. Now 4 for 11 all time against Gavin Floyd, who has settled down nicely after giving up 2 in the first.
Exactly. He has been terrific the last 3 innings. Nothing doing against him after a tough first.
Swing and miss.
That's that cut fastball staying right in on the left-handed hitters. Santiago right over the top of it. Heck of a pitch.
The 1-1. Santiago squared, but pulled it back. Santiago doesn't mind seeing the White Sox in town at all, as you can see. Ball ripped foul.
4 cut fastballs all in on Santiago. You see, that's the pitch now that Gavin Floyd, it's going to be his go-to pitch here. He's got a good feel for it, and he's executing it.
And now he's run the count full. Curtis Granderson, the leadoff hitter, would be next. And there it is, strikeout number 6 for Gavin Floyd. The Boys and Girls Clubs of America is the official charity of Major League Baseball. Reaching more than 4 million kids worldwide, together they create a positive place for kids. A lot of these kids were enjoying the afternoon until the top of the 5th inning when the White Sox put 2 on the board. Grabbed a 3-2 lead. Leadoff man Curtis Granderson, 0 for 1, walked and scored back in the first. Ball ripped first and foul. Great. See, is this something they're talking about when a guy is maturing in front of your eyes with Gavin Floyd? We saw him kind of come off the rails there in the first inning.
Sure.
Settled down. Now he struck out 6 of the last 11 batters.
Yeah, he walked the leadoff man, Granderson, and then right behind that was an error by his first baseman, Paul Konerko. And a lot of young pitchers will unravel, and he actually did unravel in the first inning. Both of those guys came around to score, and it was 2-0 Tigers. But you've got to give this kid a lot of credit. He's really hung in there, and he knew he was going up against an all-star in Edwin Jackson. And you can just tell he has said, all right, that is it. I'm not giving up anymore. And he's kept his team in the ball game, and now his team has battled back to take the lead.
Second straight full count now against Gavin Floyd. Winner of 17 games a year ago for these White Sox, including a big one against the Tigers that forced the 1-game playoff with the Twins. There's ball 4. Second time this afternoon Granderson has earned a free pass. And here is today's Gillette trivia question.
I always get these.
Of teams that have thrown a no-hitter, which team has gone the longest since their last? Now there's 4 teams that's never thrown a no-hitter.
The Mets included, right?
Yes, the Mets, Padres, Rockies, Rays.
Rockies and Rays. Okay.
So there you go.
So
you could chew on that one.
So you got to throw those teams out, right?
Right. The team that has thrown a no-hitter, which team's gone the longest without it?
Okay.
So Curtis Granderson on first. We'll see if he's on the move with Polanco at the dish. There's another strike. Polanco reached on Paul Konerko's error in the first and scored. Also struck out in the third. Be interesting to see what the Tigers do with Placido Polanco. He's in the final year of his 4-year deal. Guy that you know Jim Leland loves in this lineup.
No, he's just a guy that is so valuable. He handles the bat so well. You can hit and run with him. He's still a guy that's going to hit for a high average. He plays a good, solid second base. He's a leader in the clubhouse, a leader on the field. He's remarkably healthy. And he's going to find work somewhere.
There's a ball sliced down the right field line. Dye giving chase, and it gets in the seats. And now the question is, with Polanco, do they keep him around? Teams we've talked about looking to get younger, more athletic, and cheaper. You can't dismiss that in
that's a huge part
these
of it,
baseball economic times.
It'll be decision time for Dave Dombrowski.
Well, they've got a kid named Scott Sizemore down in the minor leagues, just promoted to AAA, that they think one day is going to be the heir apparent to Polanco. It's just a question of whether it'll be in 2010. There's a ball outside.
There's a big difference, Chris, between going young, having young players, and having young players that can actually play very well at this level. We've seen teams go young and never win. Well, the Pittsburgh Pirates come to mind.
Right.
They go young every year, but yet time in and time out, they're a last place ball club.
There's a ball ripped to Ramirez at short. The gets for one. On to first, a double play. So the Tigers put one on, but it's erased with the twin killing. We go to the sixth. Gavin Floyd pumped. He has a 3-2 lead. Scrub Body Wash, a powerful clean without dry skin. And by Priority Mail flat rate boxes, only from the Postal Service, a simpler way to ship. Nothing simple for Edwin Jackson against A.J. Pierzynski this afternoon. Pierzynski clubbed his 11th homer back in the second to get the White Sox on the board, and then a single back in the fourth. He looks at one up and away for ball two. Pierzynski, Quinton, and Getz to face Edwin Jackson. That ball popped over the third base bag. Inge giving chase, so too is Rayburn. That's going to fall for another hit. The third on the afternoon for A.J. Pierzynski. So sometimes you're good, sometimes you're lucky.
Well, when you're a 300 hitter, it's usually because you're good. This time he gets a little lucky. He's a little tardy on a fastball, but he hits it out there where nobody is. Rayburn gave a great chase, but he came up short, and here come the White Sox again here in the top of the sixth.
Take a look at the starters comparison. Floyd, a guy that gave up 2 in the first. Just one of those earned, but has really settled down. Jackson has one ripped by Carlos Quinton there, but foul.
Into the upper deck about 100 feet foul. Most people sitting there, they don't expect souvenirs. They just got one from Carlos Quentin. That is a long ways to pull a ball foul.
Don't bring your mitt if you're sitting in that section usually.
No, it's usually not necessary.
The shadows now becoming a factor in the late afternoon in Detroit. He's swinging a miss by Quentin on that one.
You point that out.
How tough is that, Gracie?
It's difficult. It's very difficult to see the spin on the baseball. You can see the ball, you just don't see it clearly. For instance, breaking balls and changeups. You can see a fastball is no different, but you have trouble seeing the off speed.
That ball tapped foul. Quentin activated off the DL this week after spending 2 months away from the game. Plantar fasciitis in that left foot. Just 5 for 19 since the return. What's the toughest adjustment a player has to make when he hasn't been seeing major league pitching for that long?
Well, it's just timing. You're trying to get your timing back. You're a little more out of shape than you were before you went on the DL. So just you got to get your timing back. You've got to get back in what they call game shape. It's you can sit there and run sprints all you want, and you can run laps, but it's just different. It's much different than actually playing the game, than actually running and diving for balls in the gap, or trying to beat out infield hits, or whatever it is.
Brzezinski singled to lead off the frame. He's at first. Ball ripped to Inge. He goes to second for one. On to first, and that is a double play. Well, here is today's Gillette trivia question and answer. Of the teams that have thrown a no-hitter, which team has gone the longest since their last? Gracie?
I'm going to guess the Cubs.
Well, I'm going to...
No, that would be wrong.
It's a giveaway for me.
No, that would be wrong because Zambrano did it last year. So I'm going to say,
it's the Indians. 28 years since large Lenny Barker's perfect game, something that Mark Burley accomplished 2 days ago on the south side.
Well, that hits home with you, doesn't it? Being the Cleveland guy you are, of course. Do you remember Len Barker's?
Of course I do. I remember watching it starting in about the 4th inning. 10 years old back then, Gracie, watching that. As Rick Manning caught the last out. Ernie Witt was the last hitter that day.
Back in the old ballpark in Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland Municipal. About 80,000 people claimed they were there that afternoon.
But more like 800.
That night. Oh, yeah. Friends and family, as always, back in the early 80s in Cleveland. What time's the ball game? What time are you showing up? That's pretty much it back then.
We'll play whenever you get here.
Chris Getz, 25-year-old, grew up here. Looks another walk. Now man on for Gordon Beckham. Really got that rally going an inning ago, lacing a double over the head of Ryan Rayburn.
And he's hit the ball hard twice now off of Edwin Jackson. Lined out to left his first time up, and then he beat Rayburn over his head his last at bat. So I would imagine Edwin Jackson going to have to go to the off speed because Beckham's been on his fastball all afternoon.
Ball in the dirt with Getz going. That's going to be a stolen base for Chris Getz.
He went to the off speed. He went with the slider. Getz gets a great jump and then no throw because it went to the screen.
14th steal of the season for number 17, and now in scoring position for the rookie. The 1-0 delivery by Jackson. High and inside, and Laird wants to have a little chat.
Yeah, after a double play ball off the bat of Carlos Quentin, 6 straight wide ones from Edwin Jackson. And because of that, now the White Sox have a runner in scoring position.
Tigers swept a doubleheader yesterday to start off the 4-game series here at Comerica. Now have a 2-game lead over the White Sox in the American League Central. Twins 4 back as they continue their West Coast swing out in Anaheim this weekend.
Certainly a 3-horse race here in the Central. Very evenly matched, all 3 of those teams. Whoa.
High and tight. If you had to pick one, who's the favorite?
Boy, it's so difficult. I'm thinking that if my life depended on one, well, let's hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking Chicago White Sox. I'm thinking in a very tight race.
Why?
Well, because I think the White Sox, they've been there. Ozzie Guillen's been there, and there's a pickoff play at second, nothing doing. But they've been there. They've got the experience. They've got a lot of guys still on the team from the World Series champion not long ago. So they know what to expect from a tight pennant race. The other thing with the Minnesota Twins, they've got that home field advantage. They're so good in the Metrodome. And then also they're putting the Metrodome to bed at the end of the season. And that's got to pump up anybody.
Back-to-back walks by Edwin Jackson. 3 on the afternoon. Now Jim Leyland's going to come out for a chat of his own. He's not going to even send the pitching coach, Rick Knapp, out.
Well, I have a feeling this is going to be a monologue. This is not going to be a dialogue. I have a feeling Jim Leyland not too happy right now, and he's going to express that right now to his young right hand.
Well, there is nobody working in the Detroit bullpen. So this isn't one of those, hey, give me a few minutes to get somebody ready. This is a, hey, pal, right? Let's get it going.
Yeah, it's time. Start throwing the ball over the plate. We're going to get you some runs. And I'm sure it wasn't a negative message he took out there with him. I'm sure it was a very positive message. Like, hey, come on. You got a lot of talent in that right arm. We just need you to throw it over the plate.
Well, you saw 92 pitches on the afternoon for Edwin Jackson, 42 of those coming in the last inning and 2/3. So he's really had to work here in the 5th and 6th. Now Scott Podsednik, who has a couple of base hits today, looks at another ball.
What about you, Chris Rose? How are you handicapping this American League Central?
I think I'm going to get on the same train you're on. If I had to pick one of those 3, I would go with the White Sox.
And what about the Detroit Tigers?
Not sure about their pitching after Edwin Jackson today. I just think, if you're relying on a 20-year-old and Galarraga's been too up and down.
Right, Verlander's been terrific.
And I think this is what everybody's been waiting for, is the Chris Rose analysis of the American League Central.
No, it's.
I'll tweet away on it.
I think it's very valid.
Well, if they had a choice of listening to a 3-time All-Star who played how many seasons? 17?
16. But
16
and
a world championship, or a guy who was an All-Star once in Beechwood softball, who are they going to pick? Ball fouled away. Well, you can now find Fox Sports on both MySpace and Facebook, Gracie. Not sure if you knew about that. Get breaking news, video clips, widgets, and more. Just go to myspace.com/Fox Sports or facebook.com/Fox Sports. Join the community as well. And as always, we are tweeting.
Tiger fans starting to get behind Edwin Jackson now. They want to see the 3rd out.
The 2-2 pitch. Polanco on a couple of hops is going to get Jackson out of the inning. So the White Sox threaten, but they lead 2. Miguel Cabrera, one big swing. And this thing would be all tied up. He's coming to the plate. he?
Oh, my goodness.
No, he didn't.
Did that just happen? Well, yes, it did.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he took a pretty good shot, but he's a tough guy. Look at these Detroit people. They're
Right.
tough.
He's like, I'm fine.
This is hockey town. They're tough here.
He said, I'm good. That's what Peter McNeely said after Tyson broke him up. Now he's down in the boxer shades.
That's right. Looks like an interview after a prize fight. Yeah, you should see the other guy.
Gavin Floyd continuing to mow him down. Now up on Cleat Thomas 0-2. 6 strikeouts on the afternoon for Gavin Floyd. Ball in the dirt. Gets away. Ball ripped to second, gloves it, gets up, and can't get him. So Thomas reaches on the infield single.
Well, big time speed from Cleat Thomas. I think Getz underestimated the speed of Cleat Thomas. He makes a terrific play, diving to his left. I think he just took a little bit too much time to finally get rid of it. And Thomas beats it easily. I mean, he is flying.
And once again, that's the biggest difference with this guy in the 3-hole as opposed to Maglio Ordonez. And now man on for Miguel Cabrera. This could be 2. Ramirez to second for 1. Good turn. Good scoop by Konerko. Another double play turned by the White Sox. They're second on the afternoon. Great job by Getz hanging in there.
It was so well done in all facets. A fastball in, jams Cabrera. The perfect feed. Nice job there by Getz getting out of the way of Cleat Thomas, coming in hard, coming in real hard, and a nice pick on the other end by Paul Konerko. Yeah, I don't blame you. Gavin Floyd fired up.
Carlos Guillen 0 for 2 on the afternoon. Average down to 212. Once again, just his 3rd game back off the disabled list after missing 2.5 months with a sore shoulder. All things quiet in the White Sox bullpen, and with good reason. Floyd has been flat out dominant since the first inning. Ball ripped by Guillen, past the diving Konerko and into right. So we saw that guy take it right in the face a little bit earlier.
Right.
The shiner, he's trying to hide it now behind the glasses. May I suggest, young man, some Mark Grace autographed makeup?
What?
That'll get rid of any blemish.
That doesn't belong to me.
What?
That doesn't belong to me.
You should see this guy in
No,
between innings.
you know whose that is? That's Eric Karros'.
Where do we ship it to then?
Anaheim? I've got it on loan, yeah.
Do you have any of his hair products? Because that guy leads the league in floppy dew.
Yeah, he's not follically challenged at all. No, he's got some of the better hair.
Yeah.
And some of the highest hair I've ever seen.
There's no doubt. Did you see it after week 1? It was on the internet. They were making fun of it and everything. And EK's a good friend of ours, but I swear the U.S. Open rough wasn't that big. Ryan Rayburn with a man on, pops one up. Konerko is going to be under it. And that's going to do it for the Tigers here in the 6th. White Sox lead at 3-2. We'll return to Detroit after word from your local Fox station. Get that, guys, from the Grace's Makeup. presented by Pepsi. Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. Top of 7 in Detroit. Alexi Ramirez fouls one off from Edwin Jackson, who is still in the game. We thought maybe after 6 and struggling the last couple, that'd be it. But Jim Leland says, go get him, young man.
How you feeling, young man? I feel good. Well, I'm going to give you another inning. I'm going to try to get you a well-deserved win. But right now he trails 3-2. Top of the 7th inning. Both starters trying to be their own bullpen.
That ball hit out to right. Clayton Thomas says, I'll take that, thank you. Time now to bring the heat, presented by Taco Bell. And let's take a look at the starters for the Tigers the last couple of days. Justin Verlander tossed that complete game, throwing 101
Goodness.
At one point. Edwin Jackson, just a measly 98, topping out.
Yeah, the soft tosser, Edwin Jackson. There's some gas right there on the inside corner. I like the fact that Jimmy Leland is staying with his young right-hander, showing the confidence in him. You know what? I'm not going to take you out just because you're behind. I'm going to give you the opportunity to maybe stay in there for an inning or two more. And that also shows all the other pitchers, you know what? This guy believes in us. He wants us to go out. He wants to get a victory for Edwin Jackson.
Jackson now 0-2 on die. Ball hit on over to Inge. Nice glove save and a beauty. Boy, Brandon Inge has made a few great plays over there. They've been talking all season about how he's been Gold Glove caliber. You just saw why.
He just showed it right there, ranging to his left, the in-between hop. Boy, that is a thing of beauty. And then the perfect throw across the diamond to Cabrera. 2 quick outs here for Edwin Jackson in the 7th. So far, Jimmy Leland's staying with him, and it's working out nicely.
And that one apparently just off the plate to Jim Thome. 0 for 2 with an intentional pass. And there's a strike.
98 miles an hour. Still a lot of gas left in the tank for Jackson.
105 pitches on the afternoon. Low and inside. Thome once again, great numbers against Jackson. 7 for 12 lifetime. A couple have left the yard. The 2-1. Big cut by Thome.
High gas, 99. That was the high for Jackson. Boy, did he let this one go upstairs. And Jim Thome very tardy on that fastball. Wow.
And that one's going to be a base hit to left in front of Rayburn. So at least Jackson kept Thome in the yard.
Well, Jim Thome, he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's got the Willie Stargell power. But this looked like Rod Carew right there. That was beautiful. Sit back, let the ball travel, let it get deep, and then just flip it over to the left side for a base hit. That was nice.
Thome, a definite Hall of Famer in your eyes?
In my eyes, there's no question. Just anybody that's got the opportunity right now, just take a look at Jim Thome's bio. Look at his numbers, and you'll see. He absolutely belongs in Cooperstown, and it's not even close.
Paul Konerko, pretty good numbers, but Thome, a 5-time All-Star, 13th on the home run list. RBIs, he's closing in on the top 40. Just 4 behind Fred McGriff entering today. He's going to be in the top 10 in walks, maybe as early as next week.
But his doubles, his RBIs, his home runs.
And always one of the guys you had to pick out of the lineup, as these guys were and are in the case of A-Rod, and say, I don't want him beating me, right?
That's exactly right. He's been a great player in the National League. He's been a great player in the American League. And he's won. Everywhere he's gone, he's won.
Doesn't quite have that ring. Got here the year after the White Sox broke the drought in 2005. The 0-2 pitch away.
I guess teams are going to win when you got a player like him on the team. Came up a bit short in Cleveland. Those great Cleveland teams he was on.
On a pair of pennant winners in Cleveland. Some solid years in Philly. There's a rip by Konerko. Santiago gloves it, goes the short way for the force out, just barely as Polanco had to do a little toe tapping. Solid job by Edwin Jackson. It's stretch time in Detroit. And sponsored by Just for Men. Stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. And by Progressive Insurance, the freedom to name your price. Cloudy skies here in Detroit all afternoon, but the rain has stayed away. The White Sox with a 2-run fifth. They lead it 3-2 as we go to the bottom of the seventh.
And a full house here at Comerica Park. Trying to get their Tigers to rally. But they have run into a buzzsaw in Gavin Floyd and the Chicago White Sox.
Brandon Inge 0 for 1 with a walk. Looks at strike one. That's something we've seen over the last few innings from Gavin Floyd, getting ahead of hitters. That's helped him. Breaking pitch inside. Inge, then Laird and Santiago, the bottom three of Jim Leland's order in the seventh. Swing and a miss by Inge.
He continues to pound away with that cut fastball, and that's been a great weapon for him today. Tigers just haven't done anything with that pitch.
There's a swing and a miss again. Seventh strikeout in the afternoon for Gavin Floyd, and here is the Hyundai in-game box score for the Detroit Tigers. Introducing the all-new 306 horsepower rear-wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe. Not a lot of damage done. Certainly nothing since the first inning. The Tigers got their 2 runs. Gerald Laird puts it one away.
Gavin Floyd has just taken this entire White Sox team and just said, go ahead and hop on my back, guys.
There's a ball ripped past a diving Beckham into the corner. And this is going to be a 1-out double for Gerald Laird. 14th double on the year.
Well, one of the few mistakes, and that's a fastball. It stays right in the middle of the plate. Gerald Laird just rips it past a diving Gordon Beckham and down the line. And just like that, here come the Tigers. And Tiger fans starting to make a little noise here. They kind of like first place. They want to stay there.
Well, Gerald Laird The good news is this is not a timed game. Unlike football or basketball, you can just take your sweet old time getting to second. Now Ramon Santiago.
His last name's not Bolt.
It is not. Although I think it did take him 9.69 seconds to get down to first. Strike one to Santiago. Switch hitting shortstop. You surprised no pinch runner out there for Laird?
No, not right now, to be honest with you.
Ball ripped foul.
That's another cut fastball staying in. Just so tough to keep fair. If you hit it on the barrel, you're just going to pull it foul. You can hit it hard, but it's just going to be a strike. If you keep it fair, you're going to break your bat.
We've heard so much about the cutter over the years with Mariano Rivera. You're seeing it more and more, though, from other guys?
Yeah, it's becoming the new sexy pitch for Major League pitchers. Everybody wants to throw it.
Ball tapped foul.
And that's it right there. It's something you can really stay in on hitters with. Now, you have to make sure with the cut fastball, though, you've got to make sure you get it inside, because if you leave it over the middle of the plate, it's almost like a hanging slider, and it goes a long, long way. So it can be a dangerous pitch if it's not located.
The 0-2 ripped to Canerco, who bobbles it, but he's going to take it himself for out number 2. And so now that gets the Tigers back up to the top of the order, and Curtis Granderson. Pair of walks on the afternoon, a run scored. And here comes Ozzie Guillen. And looks like he's going to call for the lefty Matt Thornton. So we have a pitching change. The White Sox lead it 3-2 in the 7th. Tigers with the tying run on third here in the 7th. Curtis Granderson looking at a new pitcher as we give you the Zantac relief pitcher profile. It is the lone left-hander in Ozzie Guillen's bullpen, Matt Thornton. 4-2 on the year, an ERA under 3 with 15 holds. Has done an outstanding job. There's ball 1.
He's a hard-throwing, big left-hander. Got a terrific fastball. The only thing that stands in Thornton's way Every once in a while, he'll have to fight a bout of wildness.
And here's your Just for Men stay in the game holds leaders. We got two of them right here in the ballpark, and both of them are left-handed. Bobby C for Detroit, Matt Thornton for the White Sox. There is a strike.
What a pitch on the outside corner at the knees. And nothing Granderson can do with that one.
And just as those pitchers keep their team in the game, you too can stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. Low and away for Thornton. Makes his home out in Arizona these days, but born in Three Rivers, Michigan, went to Centerville High School. Here in a pressure-packed situation. The 2-2 fouled away.
Well, Granderson got a fastball right down the middle, belt high. Took a good rip at it. He of the 19 home runs. But all he could do is foul it back. I mean, that's the pitch that you have to be able to hit if Thornton throws it there.
The 2-2 by Thornton. Ball lifted to left center field. Quinton under it. And so Thornton with another hold to preserve the lead for Gavin Floyd and the White Sox. January, made it to the big leagues at the end of June. 26-year-old left-hander, played for Taiwan in the 2008 Olympics.
Futaniza, one of those left-handed slingers with a big breaking ball. And look at that fastball. He's made A.J. Pierzynski wish he was somewhere else right now.
Pierzynski going for his fourth hit of the afternoon, a home run and a couple of singles. But down in the count 0-2. There's a ball tapped foul. And here now our Hyundai in-game box score for the Chicago White Sox. The man at the top, Scott Sednick, doing it again, but most of the damage coming from the guy at the plate, A.J. Pierzynski. Maybe a little bit underappreciated. Sometimes people focus on A.J.'s antics.
I think A.J.'s he's a winner. He's a guy that every team would love to have. Look at that thing of beauty right there.
Hit number 4 off the mid of a diving Brandon Inge.
300 hitters, you can make them look bad for a couple of pitches, but eventually they'll get you. That's just a nice job of just poking it over to the left side. Look at the effort from Inge. Can't quite come up with it. And Futani comes in, faces one batter. Jim Leland's going to come get him.
So we have another pitching change here in Detroit. White Sox with a man on here in the 8th. Alan Trammell on his lid. Maybe one day, if Ryan Perry is good enough, he'll end up as a figurine as well. 22-year-old right-hander on for the Tigers with a man on in the 8th to face Carlos Quentin. Starts him off with a breaking ball for strike 1. Perry, 22 years old, a first-round pick by the Tigers out of the University of Arizona a year ago.
One of many hard-throwing Detroit Tigers. When he's throwing strikes, he's effective.
There's a ball bounced foul. Perry's been up and down with the big league club several times this season. This came up about a week ago after Joel Zumaya was placed on the DL, and Zumaya is that link from the starting pitcher to Fernando Rodney, the closer. They don't exactly know what's going on with him other than he's got some arm issues.
He's got some arm issues. That job now has gone to Brandon Lyon, the veteran right-hander.
High and away on the 0-2 pitch. So Perry's one of these guys that's going to get his shot in the middle of a pennant race, it looks like.
Well, you hate to get your shot because of an injury, but well, if you're Perry, you say heck with it, and you take it and you run. Now he's getting to pitch in big games and big situations.
The 1-2 delivery. Missed. 96 on the gun. They just trot him out there, don't they?
They just trot these big corn-fed boys that just rear back and just blow it past you in the mid to high 90s.
The 2-2. Yeah. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Well, now it's time for the Mercedes-Benz E-Class Attention Assist of the game. Brandon Inge, a little bobble, but look at the gun to get Canerco. More billboards. That was an extra assist for me there at the end.
Yeah, that was nice.
I'm able to throw my voice. Well, I'm doing double duty on the game breaks as well.
You've had a heck of a day, my friend.
No. Chris Getz, he's had a solid day. Single, a run scored, stolen base, nice homecoming for the guy who's actually staying at home this weekend. Always good to get a home-cooked meal in the middle of the season. Przynski running, and they're still going to force him at second as the Tigers turn two. So Perry works out of a little bit of a jam. Polanco starts it. Cabrera finishes it. Tigers still down a run. Major League Baseball road trips by AT DET and by the all-new Mercedes-Benz E-Class. We work our way to the bottom of the eighth. The White Sox still holding on to a 3-2 lead, and a new pitcher is 35-year-old right-hander Octavio Dotel on for the 41st time this year.
Another hard-throwing veteran. Now he gets his name called, and he's going to try to do what Gavin Floyd did in front of him, as that is put goose egg after goose egg up there.
A couple of changes in the outfield, as you saw. Scott Podsednik has moved over from center to left to accommodate Dwayne Wise. Mr. I will save your perfect game if you need me. It is Polanco, Thomas, and Cabrera to face Dotel. Ball fouled away. Dotel now a setup man. Started his career back in 1999, actually as a starter for the Mets. Became a pretty good closer for the Astros and A's. 36 saves combined for those two teams back in 2004. He can run it up there pretty good too.
Well, when he was young, he really ran it up there with some passion. I mean, in the mid to high 90s. Father Time's taking his toll on his right shoulder. He still gets it up there in the low 90s, and he locates well. Just missed the outside corner.
Dotel started out with the Mets, traded to the Astros for Mike Hampton, Derek Bell. 4.5 years in Houston. Season and a half in Oakland, one with the Yankees, Royals, and Braves, last couple with the White Sox, and that one just misses as well.
Well, he hung that one, and it looked like it hung in the middle of the strike zone, but Mark Redner called it high. And Polanco lives to see another pitch at least.
The 2-2. Fouled away again.
This is what Polanco has the ability to do. Just fight off the tough pitches until he can find one he can handle.
Popped up, fouled away again.
He's the kind of hitter Polanco is that, well, pitchers like Dotel just hate to face leading off an inning. This guy's going to make me throw 8, 9, even 10 pitches or more. And all those tough pitches just seems to foul him off.
The 2-2 again. There it is. Polanco with a little Chuck Knobloch syndrome here.
That's exactly right. And that's what Polanco does. He's a guy that can handle the bat. Just continue to fight him off. I mean, this is a good pitch. Right in on his hands. He's just able to flip it foul. It's almost like he can foul it off on purpose.
The 9th pitch of the at-bat to Polanco. Just low and away.
Well, Dotel's missed now with 3 pitches. It's 3-2, and all 3 pitches just been so close. They got Polanco able to let him go, able to lay off him, and Tiger fans are appreciating his effort.
That ball lifted to left center. Wise is going to call for it.
Well, that's an easy catch.
Yeah, not as dramatic as Thursday, but does the job nonetheless. So a good at bat by Polanco. Well, this game-changing play is brought to you by Holiday Inn. Signs of change are everywhere. You saw it, top of the 9th, Gabe Kapler, the drive. Dwayne Wise just put in as a defensive replacement, the juggling catch off the wall. Maybe one of the top 5 catches you'll ever see, Gracie.
I agree.
When you consider the situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's preserving history right there. Only 18 perfect games ever twirled.
Clayton Thomas bounces one on a couple of hops to Getz. 2 down.
And after a 10-pitch at bat, I'm sure Dotel thanking his lucky stars for a quick out there. Now Miguel Cabrera stands between him and a clean 1-2-3 inning.
All he has to do is get past the guy who has 5 straight 100 RBI seasons and has a run batted in this afternoon. Miguel Cabrera. Fernando Rodney, the closer for the Tigers, getting loose. You imagine that if Cabrera is able to tie this thing up, then we would see Rodney in the ninth.
Rodney. You may, if the score remains the same.
Well, there's Ozzy's closer. Bobby Jenks starting to crank it up. Cabrera 2 for 11 with a homer all time against Dotel. Ball fouled away.
Big swing. Had a good fastball there from Dotel. Just power on power right there. Dotel got away with it. 93 miles an hour and a big swing. Boy.
The 1-2. Cabrera lifts one down the right field line. Dye is giving chase, as is Getz, and it's going to fall foul.
We love the effort there from Getz. And he has to go a long way, and he gets the dive, but it's just out of his reach.
And with Jermaine Dye playing so deep and not having the wheels he once did, he wasn't much of a factor there.
He wasn't going to get there. You see, he's almost on the warning track. He's playing so deep. Anything over his head is going in the seats.
Once again, the 1-2. Just missing with the fastball. Should Cabrera reach? Carlos Guillen in the on-deck circle. So Cabrera has worked the count full. With 2 down in the 8th, he is the tying run.
Tiger fans dying for something to cheer about. They were loving life in the first inning. They had a 2-0 lead. But since then, nada.
Just misses, so Cabrera comes back and works the walk. Ozzie getting up on that step. Is he going to make a move?
I think he's going to. Be interesting to see if he goes with his closer, Jinx. Or if he stays with Dotel. And I think Jinx, he's ready. What are you going to do, Ozzie? I'm ready, Ozzie.
What's going on here?
Well, I would imagine he's just going out to see how Dotel's feeling. What do you think?
Yeah, well, he has made the call for the big boy. Bobby Jenks coming on for the 4-out save. Of the 4-out variety. On to face Carlos Guillen. You a little surprised to see Ozzie Guillen bring him in the 8th?
I'm not surprised at all after getting swept here and falling behind by a couple of games in the Central Division. This game is obviously of utmost importance for Ozzie Guillen and the White Sox, so he's going to remove his main setup man, Octavio Dotel, and he's going with his closer. Sometimes the game needs to be saved in the 8th inning, and that's what Ozzie Guillen's thinking right now. I'm going to go with my best right here and right now.
Carlos Guillen 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Ozzie Guillen looking on.
Jinx the hard throw, the big curveball.
There is strike one. Jenks has actually struggled over the last few weeks. ERA over 10 in his last 5 outings. The 0-1. Swung on and missed.
Yeah, he just went right down the middle with a good fastball, and he threw it right by Guillen. This is just no-nonsense baseball, Chris. What's my name? Well, right there, that's Bobby Jenks.
The tying run at first. The 0-2. Ooh, the curveball just missed.
Must have stayed high. I don't know. Jenks wanted it. Brzezinski wanted it. What do you think at home? Well, for my money, that's a strike.
Well, he got him that time. Bobby Jenks comes on and slams the door shut, at least through 8. Summary, AJ Brzezinski, 4 hits this afternoon. Gordon Beckham, the man at the dish, continues his outstanding rookie season. And Miguel Cabrera, one of the few bright spots on the offensive side of the ball for Detroit. Beckham 1 for 2, runs scored and an RBI. The ball lifted to right. Cleat Thomas puts it away. And Bobby Jenks, he wasn't throwing the gas, but Uncle Charlie at the end.
Yeah, strike 3 was that one that starts eye high, comes right to the outside corner, and ring it up, Mark Wegner and Ozzie Guillen. Yeah, this is a big game for the White Sox and Ozzie Guillen. They need this one badly. He went to Bobby Jenks, his closer in the 8th inning.
I was expecting maybe the Tiger Woods fist pump or something like that.
Well, doesn't he have that patented? You're not allowed to do the Tiger Woods.
That's true.
Yeah.
Scott Podsednik, another solid afternoon, a couple of singles, RBI.
Are you here?
I am here. That's my phone ringing. Another ball up the middle, and the 3rd hit in the afternoon for Podsednik. That'll bring up Alexi Ramirez. The reason you could hear my phone
Right.
is because I need people to contact me so that I get email updates so I can do the highlights.
That's true.
During the game breaks. It's not like somebody's trying to call me here, okay? You've known me for a few years. Who wants to call me?
Oh, I call you all the time.
It's true.
Any mistake you ever make, I call you.
To see if Podsednik's on the move against Ryan Perry.
I would imagine so. Perry, a big old donkey out there, about 6'7". A slow leg kick. Podsednik, I would be very surprised if Podsednik's not running on this pitch.
Jeff Cox flashing the signs over at third. You want to follow the MLB on Fox Twitter page. There goes Podsednik. Laird fires right in time, and he nails Podsednik. A beautiful throw by Gerald Laird. That's why he leads all AL catchers.
Well, that is as good a throw as you'll ever see from a catcher. They guessed right. There's the pitch out. Watch where this throw ends up. Right where it has to be. A good tag there by Polanco. And Rob Drake rings it right up. What a perfect throw to end what would be a rally.
The 2-0 pitch to Ramirez is inside. So Podsednik caught for the 9th time this season on the base paths in 24 attempts. And Ramirez works a 4-pitch walk. Jermaine Dye, pretty quiet afternoon. 0 for 3 with a walk. But another solid season.
And another guy that if you make a mistake, he will extend the lead by 2 more.
You know, we've talked a little bit about what the Tigers plan to do with some of their veterans in the offseason. Right. Jermaine Dye has a mutual option with the White Sox in 2010 for $12 million. So we'll see if either side's going to exercise that.
Mutual option. So in other words, if you want to come back, we'll have you, and vice versa.
That's what it sounds like to me. We don't have a lot of those in television.
No, I never had a mutual option. I was pretty much just told to beat it.
Get out. Well, there goes Ramirez. Ball fouled away.
He had a huge
he would have had that one.
I don't even think the great arm of Laird was going to get Alexi Ramirez on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps before the ball was released there by Perry. So back to first, Ramirez will go. And a 1-2 count here on Jermaine Dye.
Two and 2 now on Jermaine Dye, the 2005 World Series MVP. And he's been raking ever since then. Leads all American League outfielders in both home runs and RBI since 2005. Just consistent across the board. And there goes Ramirez again. Ball tapped on out to Santiago. And we are going to go to the bottom of the 9th. Bobby Jenks got the last out of the 8th. Can he get the final 3? We'll find out. final 3 outs here in the 9th. Ryan Rayburn stepping in, 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Sellout crowd of over 41,000 on hand at Comerica to watch the top 2 teams in the American League Central battle it out.
They're excited about their Tigers here in Detroit, and they should be. They sit in first place by 2 games. Strike 2 there from Bobby Jenks, a slider down and away.
The 0-2 pitch. Jenks makes quick work of Ryan Rayburn for out number 1. Well, Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball, will congratulate A.J. Pierzynski, today's MLB Clutch Performer of the Game, which is presented by Pepsi. 4 hits and yeoman's work behind the dish as well. Learn more about the MLB Clutch Performer of the Month award at PepsiClutch.com. And A.J.'s work behind the dish. He's helped the law firm of Floyd, Thornton, Dotel, and Jenks to get within 2 outs of victory. Brandon Inge, though, lacing one in front of Scott Podsednik, so a 1-out single. And that'll bring power on power as Marcus Timms is getting loose in the on-deck circle.
He's going to hit for Gerald Laird. Yeah, power. Big time in Marcus Timms. What a big weapon he's been since he came back from an injury just over a month ago. Just a little more thump in the lineup for Jim Leland. That, well, really, a lineup most of the year that hadn't really had a lot of thump, Chris.
Well, Brandon Inge, who leads the team in homers, we talked to you about the bad knee. He has been replaced by Adam Everett on the base paths. So switches all around for Jim Leland. Probably feels like he's managing a National League team again. As you can see, Timms has done great work coming off of the bench, but he is 0 for 2 in his career against Bobby Jenks.
Here's one swing of the bat from sending this crowd into a frenzy.
Ball in the dirt. You think about sending Everett?
Well, in this situation, absolutely. You think about it. Jenks very slow to the plate.
Fisted, and it looks like that ball's going to fall. Everett is going to hit second and end up all the way at third. So the back guy's a hero for Marcus Timms.
Nothing pretty about it, but if you ask Marcus Timms, he'll say, oh, that was beautiful. Fastball just shatters his bat, sends that flying. But Timms is just so doggone strong that he still gets it out past the infield, out in front of Jermaine Dye, and just like that, first and third with only 1 out. And Ramon Santiago handles the bat well. He's a tough guy to strike out. An opportunity to tie up the ball game.
Just the second plate appearance for Santiago against Jenks. 0 for 1 in his career against him. But 1 for 3 on the afternoon with a single. Tying run 90 feet away.
I'm surprised that move didn't work, Chris.
Ball lifted down the left field line. Gordon Beckham is giving chase.
No back down in Bobby Jenks. He just reared back and went right down the middle with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And he beat Santiago with that one. All he could do was shank it foul.
Jenks started out the 9th by striking out Ryan Rayburn on 3 pitches. Brandon Inge singled, lifted for a pinch runner. Then Marcus Timms with a broken bat, pinch hit single. And Gene Lamont, the former White Sox skipper, now working the third base coach's box for Jim Whelan's crew.
Santiago saw something that was confusing, and this is no time for guesswork. Did you put something on there? He got his answer, and he steps back in.
The 0-1.
Bobby Jenks was smelling a rat himself. Rally caps everywhere.
Pitch out.
Just look at that conversation between Santiago and Gene Lamont. Look what it caused. It caused a step-off move and then a pitch out.
Ball popped up. Alexi Ramirez is under it, and that'll be out number 2. A huge out there for Bobby Jenks.
Well, we got Santiago to chase a higher-than-high fastball. All he could do was pop it up, and a huge out here for Bobby Jenks and the White Sox. Ozzy's going to come out and have a conversation. He's not going to remove Bobby Jenks, I can promise you that, but I think it's time for him to decide, do you want to face Granderson or Polanco in this situation? Watch the pitch by Jenks. That's higher than high. If you're going to swing at that one, that's about all you're going to do with it, is get underneath it and pop it up.
Well, the producer of today's game is Jeff Gowan, directed by Jim Lynch. The associate director is Aaron Stoikov, broadcast associate Matt Saldana, statisticians Mark Seguro and Mike Matero. Technical producer is Matt Benedict. Our technical director is Simon Benzera. Pre-game show produced by Don Bowie, and the senior videotape producer is Janice Pizzazza. Coordinating studio producer of Fox Sports is Scott Ackerson. Senior VP of production is Jack Simmons. As Curtis Granderson steps into the box and looks at strike 1. Well, if they get to Polanco, as you can see, he's done very well against Bobby Jenks. There's Curtis Granderson, 3 for 13 with a big fly against the big closer. Strike 2.
97 miles an hour to the inside corner. He jumps ahead of Granderson. 0-2.
The 0-2 pitch. Ball ripped. Fire! And the game is tied. Ball rolls into the corner. Thames is going to get held at third. Granderson at second. And we are tied.
Boy, this place is going insane. And this is why. Another fastball in. Granderson pulls it by a sprawling Paul Konerko. Couldn't get back. It looks at first like Tim Timmons was going to point it foul, but he pointed it fair. We've got a tie ball game. And now an opportunity for Polanco to send these folks home.
Placido Polanco looks at ball 1. You saw the numbers just a minute ago. 6 for 15 in his career against Jenks. He has struggled today. It's 2-0.
Well, these Tigers just continue to impress, don't they? They hang around, they hang around. And they finally find a way to strike when you least expect it. An 0-2 pitch to Granderson. We got a tie game now. They're looking to send everybody home.
On the black for strike 1.
Big fastball there from Jenks to the outside corner.
The winning run now 90 feet away. It's 3-1.
Well, the base open. He doesn't have to come with a strike here to Polanco, who's had great success off of him. He's got the youngster Cleet Thomas on deck.
Strike two. Ball tapped foul. We'll do it again.
We can't ask for any more excitement, Chris Rose.
Well, it's already been a crazy weekend, and we're only on the middle of Saturday. Tigers looking to extend their lead to 3 games in the American League Central. Ball hit on over to third. Beckham scoops it up. We're going to a little free baseball as Bobby Jenks blows his 4th save of the year. We're off to the 10th. Tied at 3. Gerald Laird out of the game, so Dusty Ryan is behind the plate. And they have a new pitcher as well. It is the closer, Fernando Rodney. Not a save situation, obviously, but coming on nonetheless.
Well, at home you have the ability to do this. You can bring your closer in for an inning, maybe even 2, depending how fresh Fernando Rodney is. Because if you score in the bottom half, well, the game doesn't need to be saved.
Jim Thome, great numbers against Fernando Rodney, 3 for 7. Rodney's been pitching pretty well as of late. It can get a little rickety with him out there on the mound in save situations, but he hasn't been scored upon since July 6th in a loss to Kansas City. Delivers strike 1.
Another thing Fernando Rodney will do, he will take his time out on the mound. Never in a hurry is Mr. Rodney.
He'll face Thome, Konerko, and Perzinski in the 10th. Swing and a miss.
He's still got that terrific split finger fastball. He's throwing a couple of them here to Tomey. He jumps ahead 0-2.
Well, that ERA looking a little bit like the Dow, up and down at times. Right now, actually, when it's down for him, that's up for Jim Leyland.
Whoa.
Speaking of up.
Well, that's an 0-2 pitch. Just about at the coconut of Jim Tomey. And you can see it takes more than that to scare Jim Tomey. This ball is right at the coconut of Jim Tomey. He got it out of there. And this is a guy, I don't know if I'd really want to wake him up.
Swing and a miss. So Fernando Rodney takes care of one big swinger.
After a couple of split fingers and a fastball up and in, just right by him at the belt, right down the middle. And you can see just how tardy Jim Tomey was. Probably thinking split finger again.
So now it's Paul Konerko. 0 for 4 on the afternoon. It's a ball one, low and away. Konerko 5 for 13 lifetime against Rodney. It is 2-0.
Rodney will take his time.
Yeah, we call him the anti-Mark Burley.
No, he is. Exactly. He's a guy that if you need to catch a plane, you'd rather have Burley. There's a split finger to the outside corner. Good pitch.
Although give Fernando Rodney credit, he's perfect in save opportunities this year. I think obviously the back end of the bullpen, some question marks going into the year for the Tigers. He has obviously solidified that position. But it is 3-1 on Konerko.
Yeah, just another 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Every one of these Tiger pitchers just brings it.
There's a ball ripped foul. Little stumbling act over there. Yeah, how's our guy doing? Well, he's ditched the shades. He looks a little woozy, though. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Hello.
He got some of that Mark Grace makeup, and he's looking a little better.
I tell you. Operators are standing by if you'd like to place your order. Comes with a free powder puff. And there is ball 4. So Rodney strikes out Tomey, but loses Konerko. And now it's the 4-hit man, A.J. Pierzynski. A homer in the second, 3 singles since then.
Here on this Saturday afternoon, now moving on into evening, as Konerko is removed for a pinch runner.
It is Josh Fields.
A.J. Pierzynski's been public enemy #1 for Tiger fans.
Ball hit up the middle. This could be 2. Everett's going to take it himself. And we move on to the bottom of the 10th. The Tigers scratched out the tying run in the 9th. Can they get the game winner in the 10th? It'll be Thomas, Cabrera, and Guillen. 10th in Detroit. Tigers and White Sox tied at 3. Josh Fields, who pinch ran for Paul Konerko on the top of the frame, remains in the game on over at first base. You see it beautiful out of the skyline. And the new pitcher is 32-year-old right-hander DJ Carrasco.
DJ Carrasco is on quite a roll. He's unscored upon in his last 6 1/3 innings. And he's called upon here to throw the bottom of the 10th inning here for the Chicago White Sox.
Part of the order, and Cleet Thomas gets it started with a slap single to left.
Well, that is really pretty right there by the youngster. Most of your young hitters are just taught to pull the ball, think power. Watch him stay back, let the ball travel, get deep, and just rip it into left field. He didn't just serve it over there. He really drove it over there, Chris. And Marcus Thames fired up there in the dugout.
Thames did his job as a pinch hitter in the 9th with a bloop single to put runners at first and third. And now it's Miguel Cabrera. Makes it one high and tight. Carrasco, a guy that has bounced around, drafted by Baltimore in the 26th round back in 1997. Never made it to the bigs with them. Minor league stints with Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Finally broke in at the major league level with Kansas City. Spent the last couple years on the south side of Chicago. Stint in Japan as well. He's seen it all.
He falls behind Miguel Cabrera, 2-0. Most likely going to have to throw a fastball for a strike. Good speed over at first base.
The 2-0 delivery by Carrasco. That is a strike.
Good fastball right at the knees.
Gordon Beckham protecting the line over at third. And Cleet Thomas. There's a ball hit in the hole, so the Tigers now have runners at first and second and nobody out. Well, the third team in the American League Central race, the Minnesota Twins. They've now lost 3 straight out in Anaheim. Lose it 11-8 to the Angels. So now the Twins are 4.5 back of the Tigers. It could be 5 within minutes.
Now it's decision time here for Jim Leyland. Carlos Guillen up first and second, nobody out. I think this just screams for a bunt, don't you, Chris?
You would think so. But this has been a guy who's produced a lot of runs for the Tigers over the years by swinging it away. He is swinging away.
I played all my seasons in the National League, and this just screams bunt for me, Chris Rose.
Are you surprised?
No, well, I am a little bit surprised. We saw Jim Leyland use the bunt in the first inning, and it got him 2 runs. Now he's going to disdain it, and we'll just see what happens. That's why he's the Hall of Fame manager, and you and I are up here.
Ball in the dirt. Guillen, not much of a bunter. But as you said, the situation certainly screams it. And speaking of situations, this is an area where probably Ozzie Guillen would love to have another left-hander in the bullpen to get Guillen out of the game because he can't swing the bat right-handed with the bum shoulder. Swing and a miss. Tigers just 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. That's nothing compared to last weekend's nightmare. 1 for 26 in the series against the Yankees with runners in scoring position. The 1-2. Low. Gracie, you're asking maybe why isn't Carlos Guillen bunting here? Just 2 sacrifices in the last 5 years.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. That's the American League. It's
right.
just not. It's not a play that's just used very often in the American League.
Ball tapped foul. But still, I think there's probably some baseball fans out there wondering, he's a big leaguer. Shouldn't he be able to do it?
Good point. And the answer would be yes. He should be able to do it because these guys are the best players in the world. And yes, they should be able to get a bunt down when asked. But just sometimes managers just think, well, he's not all that good a bunter, so I'll take my chances with him swinging the bat. And he's going to get his chance here in a 2-2 pitch.
Ball hit up the middle. It's past Ramirez into center. Here comes Cleet Thomas. The throw by Wise is not in time. The Tigers, 1 in the 9th to tie it, 1 in the 10th to win it.
No bunt necessary, Chris Rose. Jim Leyland, he knows his team better than anybody. Carlos Guillen right back up the box. And this place is going berserk. Thomas, a great jump, hits the bag perfectly, and the great speed just beats the throw.
So Carlos Guillen, the man who spent the last 2.5 months on the DL, gives the Tigers another W. We're going to return to Motown for more post-game coverage right after these messages.